Welcome in, everybody. It's Main Street Today time. I'm so glad that you're here. I have a very inspiring person I cannot wait for you to meet. I was working at WSM a couple of years ago, and knocking on the window outside was a very sharp dressed man. And he introduced himself as Terrance Dye. I got to meet him, and he was a first time author of a book called My Conversations with God. And it was a lifelong dream. He did it. He set up his own book tour, and getting to meet him has been a joy for me because this man is unstoppable. We get to meet him now. Terrance, how are you?
Hello. So good to see you.
I know you are sharp dressed again. Always.
Well,
You
thanks.
are, when we first met, where were you working?
I was actually the DM over all of the fashion stores over at the hotel, and
The
whoever.
Gaylord Opryland. So if
Yes, the
anybody wants
Gaylord
to.
Opera. Yes, ma'am, the Gaylord Opryland, and it was a great experience. But out of everything that I learned, I got to meet you guys and be on WSM, and like that was a long time dream of mine, long before I even got there. So you really have no idea how much of an impact you've been in my life. Seriously.
Well, likewise, you probably have no idea because now let's take people back to the beginning real quick.
Mhm.
When you wanted to write a book, you were always a writer and you dreamed about it just like kids who want to be writers do. You're a little
Yes,
kid, you
ma'am.
go, I want my book. I want to write my book. And you
Mhm.
did it one page at a time, like you put on your britches, one leg at a
Yeah,
time,
one
right?
at a time. Yes, ma'am. Taking all the way back to the beginning, like I always wanted to just write for fun. I wrote to impress girls, of course. They love poetry. People that were having weddings, and some of my friends even liked some of the stuff that I was doing and wanted me to write for some of their, relationships and stuff like that. So I didn't really take it serious till I got into college, and I had a friend that was called to preach at a local church, and he just told me that God had a special calling on my life with the writing, and that if I pursued it, what would happen. So I just went out on faith, and it's been 20 years this year since all of this has happened, and I get to look back now at how it all started and see how far God truly has brought me.
Wow.
Being independent for 20 years, not having any major corporations or major publishing companies. And I just wanted people to know, like, I'm still at the very same humble beginnings that I was 20 years ago. And I'm not trying to rush anything. I'm not trying to make anything happen. I'm on God's timing. I'm on what God has for me.
Hmm.
And it works out much better when you're waiting on Him versus when I've tried to go out and try
Amen.
to make things happen and run into all these brick walls and people who you thought that was really there for you. You kind of see things differently when you're trying to just go out there and do everything on your own instead of
Hmm.
waiting and seeing what God has for you. So
Amen. I mean, that'll preach. Well, I'm going to take you have a love of fashion, a love of literature, and
yes,
you've
ma'am.
taken that. And let's talk about the fashion for a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Terrence decided to do some modeling. So this is what we call in the business, because I was a plus size model for Ford in the day. And so you created your model card with your
Yes,
look.
yes, ma'am.
And then all of a sudden you started doing work.
Yeah, it happened 2019, right before COVID hit. Um, I was working at Dillard's, Green Hills, and I had a young lady who I had dressed. Of course, I was dressing ladies, and everybody loves one. So I dress you, you come back to see me usually. You
That's
know?
right.
And she told me that I dressed her for a Christmas party, and she came back for New Year's. She was like, Terrance, everybody loved my outfit. I want you to dress me again. So as I'm dressing this lady, she just kind of was like, you should model. And I was like, well, I kind of do. And she told me about her husband being this big photographer. And she was like, well, I just have him take a few pictures and we'll see what happens from there. And so we took a few pictures January of 2020. And I think maybe like a month later, I was
Uh-huh.
going to cover my first international magazine. So I never thought this would happen. And I actually got like a back as well. And so
See, the calls are already coming in. The
yes,
call,
man. They are already coming in. And so
I
um,
love it.
it was a life changing experience for me because This magazine, even though I didn't make it all the way to Paris, France, where it's actually based out of. And I was like, wow, what's the likelihood of that happening? And I got to shoot it right in Nashville, right?
Crazy.
And so my hometown of New Albany, Mississippi, they actually saw the magazine, saw me on Facebook, and wanted me to come down for a meeting. So I get there for a meeting in my hometown, and they wanted to induct me into the museum. So in June of 2020, I was inducted into my hometown museum, and I'm still alive, and I got to do my own induction speech, and I got to say things that I wanted people to hear me say. And I mean, that really just meant the world to me to be able to do that.
Can you, just taking a look at this picture, there you are giving your oration.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's just like, it's crazy. And people are starting to write your story, and they're finding it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I always say that we have a lot of little towns that we cover with Main Street Media, and we have newspaper articles that we have that are constantly telling the story of these small towns. But what does your small town think of you? Because they say you can't go home again because it's a mixed bag. I know because
yes. I think for the most part, me coming home this time, it's been much better with my book tour, with the amount of publicity that I've been able to have coming back home to do all of this. It's still kind of the ups and downs. I'm from a small town, so you don't have majority of the people coming to support you because most of the time I knew him back when, I remember going to school with him. But on the flip side, I do get a whole lot of people that come out and support. I have, such as yourself, I meet a lot of good mamas.
That's right.
I'm actually at the art gallery in downtown Baldwin, Alley Cat Gallery. And this is where I had my most recent book signing like a week or so ago. And the owner is Miss Phyllis Ann. And she took to me kind of like you and I had.
Exactly. I adopted you from the minute you walked in.
Yes, ma'am. It was very similar. And so I've been blessed to meet those kind of people in my life. And I've learned that it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And that's even in the people. So.
Yeah, and you've got an open mic coming up that you're going to be hosting and be a part of there at Alley Cat. And for people who want to find out more, let me see if I can find your picture of your newest. Is this your newest book?
That's my newest book. Yes, ma'am. Actually, it means a lot to me because I've always wanted a tribute book. I think as an artist, I think everybody wants something one day that they could say was their best work. And I never thought at 39 that I would be inducted into a museum, and at 39 I would be out promoting an actual tribute book of my best work. And I put like on the cover a lot of the newspaper articles, and the book is full of pictures, and people can kind of see my life as it unfolded. So it's been a really big success to go on tour signing 3 books in my hometown, because I know there's some young person or maybe some older person that sees what I'm doing. And you said it at the beginning of the show, I will not stop.
You're unstoppable.
I will not ever let anyone tell me what I can't do when God has already told me what I'm gonna do.
Ooh, that'll preach. I'm going to give you an amen to that one. Yes, indeed. Anybody who's watching that has a dream that you have backburnered because you don't have the faith in yourself, remember, God has the faith in you.
Yes,
to bring it about. All you got to do is walk forward. Let's talk about TED for a minute. Are you doing a TED Talk?
My name is Terrance Dye, so I use my initials to kind of bring people in. So it's actually my name.
Gotcha.
And, I use it as a motivational talk to tell people about where I started. I started out in these little journals, and then I started out with these paperback books I sold for $3, a little bit of nothing. And then that turned into the hardback copies in which you see years later. And so in doing this speech, people get to see the journey, that it's not all about me signing books at Barnes and Nobles and signing books here and there, but being able to go back to my roots to show you the determination I think that means a lot to me because I don't want you to see this glitz and glamour and think that it was like that. I've been on this road for 20 years and I can count the people on my hands that has really reached out to help me. And people ask, well, how have you kept going all this time with little or no help or very few people believe? I said, you know what? God told me what he was going to do. If I give up, I'm giving up not on myself, but I'm giving up on him. And so, I tie a lot of this in as a spiritual thing because that's been the motivation and the determination in my life. Without God basically pushing me and keep on pushing me out there, I would have gave up 10, 15 years ago,
Where can people see you if they're in the Nashville area? Where can they find you? First of all, are you still doing fashion? Are you still dressing people?
I'm out of Nashville right now. I'm on a book tour. I'm on my 5th book tour now.
Wow.
I've done my hometown of New Albany, Mississippi, the town in which I grew up in Boonville, Mississippi, and the most recent I just done down here in downtown Baldwin, Mississippi. So I'm getting ready to probably launch off to a new location after the open mic. The love was just so overwhelming here in Baldwin, and Miss Phyllis Ann and the people that's been down here downtown has just opened up their arms to me and embraced me. So, I just want to say this to those people who don't think no one will ever help them. God has a plan, and those people are out there. I promise you, they are out there. You have friends and family that come to you all the time. Baby, you can't do that. That's stupid. You don't need to try that. Well, you know what? I'm here to tell you that there are some people out there that do believe in you. There are people out there that do want to see you succeed. Now, it may not be the ones you think it is, but they are really out there. And so I just wanted to say that as a good motivation for people.
I'm so glad, Terrance. I just love you so much, and I appreciate your drive and your power. And I want to be the wind beneath your wings, however I can be.
Oh,
everybody, how can they get your books, Terrance?
I'm actually selling my books now on lulu.com, lulu.com. Just type in my name, Terrance Dye. I have a list of all my books there. My website is www.terrancedye.com. I'm actually selling books there as well. And you get to see some of the other pictures and things that's not on social media. And just really rolling, like trying to see what's next with the open mic. I haven't done one in my hometown here in Mississippi in 15 years. So to bring that back, working on trying to get back into wardrobing. But I had a chance to come back to Nashville maybe a month and a half ago, to downtown Franklin. And I mean, I was on my way, but God just had a different direction. I think I have to see where this road is going to end now. I have to. When I was working with you and coming in, I toured for a while, come back, back and forth, did double life. And now God has me on a plan that I can't just detour from at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing your story today. And whenever your journey brings you back through here, let me know and keep in touch with me because we want to keep this story going. Terrance Dye, everybody. Thank you for your time, Terrance.
No problem. Glad to be here. Good to see you.
And tell all the other mamas of Terrance Dye that I said, hey.
Yes, ma'am. I sure will. Yes,
Take care. Bye,
Take
baby.
Care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Oh, is he not the most precious, precious man? I just absolutely, absolutely adore him. Well, I've been talking about the brand new project from William Lee Golden and the Goldens, and we featured the song on Friday. We'll feature in the video today. This is available right now, and you can get it. The song, Come and Dine.
Jesus has a table spread where the saints of God are fed. He invites his chosen people, come and dine. With his manna he doth feed, and supplies our every need. Oh, it's sweet to sup with Jesus all the time. Come and dine, the master's calling, come and dine. You may feast at Jesus' table all the time. He who fed the multitude turned the water into Lamb will take his bride to the ever at his side. All the hosts of heaven will assemble be. Oh, 'twill be a glorious sight. All the saints in spotless white, and with Jesus they will feast eternally. Come and dine, the Master's calling, come and dine. You may feast at Jesus' table all the time. He who fed the multitude turned the water into wine. To the hungry calling now, come and dine. Come and dine, the Master's calling, come and dine. Come and dine. You may feast at Jesus' table all the time. All the time. He who fed the multitude turned the water into wine. To the hungry calling now, come and dine. He who fed the multitude turned the water into wine. To the hungry calling now, come and dine.
Literally the most musical family I have ever known in my life. And I've known some musical families. And I love it how Rusty can't help but play air piano, air drums, he and Chris both. And they all play everything. They all play everything. That was filmed at Golden Era Plantation. And you see William Lee there at the head of the table, his wife Simone serving up that fried chicken. And everything is just joyous. And I encourage you to get a copy of it. The brand new project is... It's part of a 3 CD set that's on its way. They recorded all through COVID years and if you're sheltered in place and you got a studio, you go for it, right? And they did. And I cannot wait to hear the rest of the projects, but you can get it right now. Come and Dine is available and you can download it wherever you get fine music. Well, we're going to take a look right now at my friend Tammi Arender, my sister from another mister, covers agriculture and farm to fork with RFD television, and she went to a local alpaca farm. And I'm sorry, it's just too cute not to share.
It's not every day you get to see alpacas being wrangled. But here at the Alive and Fuzzy Alpaca Farm in Bowling Green, Kentucky, it's time to get these furry friends into the stalls and out of the heat.
The kids that are my grandkids' age have never been on a farm. They're 2 or 3 generations from the farm, and agrotourism lets them become exposed to different farm situations.
Elaine and Sam Painter run this agritourism destination. They have about 33 of these alpacas, and they love to show them off.
And because our animals have been exposed to 4-H kids, they are not afraid of people. One set of kids tell me it was better than Disneyland.
I kept saying, well, there's a distillery right up the road. He said, but there's an alpaca farm. And I said, but there's a distillery right. He said, there's an alpaca farm. And so I said, I guess we're going to the alpaca farm.
Pat and Larry Miller are RVers from Lafayette, Louisiana. They found the Alive and Fuzzy Alpaca Farm through a company called Harvest Host. It's a resource of more than 2,600 unique and often off-the-beaten-path destinations for RVers to stay the night and have an experience, not just a place to park. And that's exactly what Larry and Pat wanted.
Americana. That's really what I like. I like to see how people are doing. I want them to do well.
The reason we joined is because this is the kind of thing we like to do anyway. We don't go to luxury resort RV sites. We like to go off-grid and go to wineries or go to farms or sit by the water and have a fire. And so this was kind of perfect.
Harvest Host destinations, farms, golf courses, wineries, even museums allow RVers to park for free on their property. And those hosts don't mind because, like in the case of the alpaca farm, Elaine gets to introduce them to all of her products. The gloves, the hats, the scarves made from her alpaca fleece.
I call them my Elmer Fudd hats.
Elaine even gives the guest a bit of an education on how the fleece is turned into clothing. So Pat and Larry are tickled that they joined Harvest Host, not only to find places to park the RV, but learn a little something along the way.
Yeah, we didn't just pass through. We stopped. I mean, this was the destination for us.
In Bowling Green, Kentucky, I'm Tammi Arender for RFD-TV.
Isn't that a fabulous story? I love it. Thank you, Tammi Arender. You can find her stories on RFD-TV and again on News Channel 5 here at our CBS affiliate in Nashville. Well, I love introducing you to part of our Main Street family, and that is our very own Joe Dubin. He's covering stories all over Middle Tennessee, including Shelby Park.
Well, every day around America, there are thousands of golf tournaments that are taking place, benefiting wonderful charities and organizations. Fortunately, in Middle Tennessee, we have one of those. It's called the Shelby. Their purpose is clear, their mission is clear, and their results are simply fantastic.
This started in 2006 as an idea for my wife to raise money for Harris Hillman Special Education School. That's where my daughter was going to school. We had 6 weeks to put the tournament together. We raised $32,000, and we looked at each other and said, man, we ought to do this every year. And the next year we did it, we raised $100,000. So we've just been doing it now this will be our 16th year. We raised $1.35 million in 15 years.
Explain Shelby's condition, if you don't mind.
Boy, that's a tough one. Born with multiple disabilities 23 and a half years ago. We didn't know she was going to be born that way. If we would have known she was going to be born that way, it wouldn't have made a difference. Right. We don't believe in abortion. We would have done it no matter what. Sure. When she was born, they said enjoy her time. It may be a day, a week, a month, a year, just enjoy her. Now, 23 and a half years later, we're still enjoying her.
You put on that first year concerned that nobody would show up? Because that'd be my concern, like nobody's going to be here.
Listen, the folks at Old Hickory Country Club are a special group. I was a head pro here for 22 years, well, for 16 years, but I worked here 22. They rallied behind us. It was a great event. I couldn't believe we raised that much money, and then we just kept doing it.
Are you blown away each and every year by more people and more donations and everything else?
It blows me away every year when I see the checks come in from places we'd never heard of before. It's incredible. The largest check I've ever gotten, honestly, is because of this tournament. We didn't get it during the tournament, but 2 weeks later, one of my members here, who's passed away in the last couple of years, gave us a $250,000 check. I've never seen a check that big. And when I saw it, I thought it was $25,000. I showed it to my wife. She started screaming. Look at this, look at this. And I get the check back. I thought, oh my gosh, there's another zero there. So I've never seen one that big. But that's been huge.
I guess we all understand that this kind of support doesn't happen everywhere. So I guess you gotta be grateful for every second.
Extremely, extremely. The outpouring of love from the members at Old Hickory, from the community in Hermitage and Donaldson has been overwhelming. We're just thankful to be a part of it.
Well, I belong to a group that says when you're wrong, promptly admit it. And I misspoke. It's not Shelby Park. It's Old Hickory Golf and Country Club. And it is the place where a lot of golf tournaments are held beautifully. I've held two there myself, and I have served the beer cart many, many years at different organizations' golf tournaments. And that one's for the Shelby Foundation, shelbyfoundation.org. Hey, the Tennessee Honey Festival is coming up this next weekend on Sunday at Bicentennial Mall.
What's all the buzz in Nashville right now? The 2021 Tennessee Honey Festival, Sunday, October 3rd at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park in downtown Nashville. Visit TennesseeHoneyFestival.com today to reserve your tickets.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait for what it's going to be like. It's education about honey, and they have this wonderful Williams honey farm down in Franklin. It's actually Kimberly Williams Paisley's brother owns it, and he runs it, and he is the resident pro, and he actually has this wonderful mobile beehive kind of thing that kids are just fascinated with. Let me give you a little look at what it's going to look like at Bicentennial Mall this Sunday.
What's all the buzz in Nashville right now?
Without bees, we don't have agriculture. Without bees, we don't have groceries. Without bees, we as a life system fall apart because there are little fuzzy, cute pollinators. Don't worry. People go, oh my gosh, I got to get rid of the bees. They're going to sting. They're going to sting. No, honeybees are not stingers. I mean, they can, but they don't want to because that's ultimately how they lose their life. So they don't want to sting. And that's why beekeepers and people, even in downtown Nashville, I bet you didn't know that a lot of our farm to fork restaurants downtown on those big, tall buildings have got beehives actually in the top of those buildings. It's really, really a cool thing to watch and a cool thing to be a part of. Speaking of downtown, we've got a very special birthday.
Broadway's biggest street party is back. Tootsie's 60th anniversary birthday bash. Tuesday, October the 5th. Come celebrate the anniversary of the honky tonk that started it all. Band start at noon. Admission is free.
We want to make sure that is going to be a big old hootenanny of a party. The 60th birthday of Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, going to be fantastic. Well, speaking of birthday, we gave birth here at Main Street Media to Main Street Nashville, a 5-day-a-week digital e-reader newspaper. How does an e-reader work? Well, if you've got an iPad, a phone, or a computer, you can read the paper every single day, and we cover your local stories. Here's how it works. Welcome to Main Street Nashville. Our newly launched e-edition allows you to read our paper online from anywhere in the world. You are in control of how and when you read or listen. Subscribers can access our e-edition online at mainstreet-nashville.com or on a smartphone or tablet using our Main Street Nashville app. In a browser, today's and all previous issues are available at the click of a button. These issues can be viewed exactly as they would appear in print, or can be toggled to text view where articles will appear in an easy-to-read horizontal stream. You can toggle between page and text view using these two buttons on the bottom left-hand portion of your screen. Main Street Nashville is fully responsive. Click and drag your cursor to move the paper left and right. To see photos and text at a larger scale, double-click on a page or use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. You can also quickly jump to different sections of the paper by using these tabs at the bottom of the screen. Use the 9 dots at the top of each page, or click and hold on an article to see the list of available features. These drop-down menus are available in page view and text view. On-demand narration is a great feature for users to use who like to multitask, or if they are visually impaired. To hear an article read out loud, select Listen. Love an article? Share it. You can get a direct link to an article, post it on Facebook or Twitter, email it, or copy it into a note-taking app. Clicking Print will allow you to print an article or crossword at your convenience. View photo galleries and videos by clicking the icon on an image. Click play on videos once the screen appears. Our Main Street Nashville app has many of the same features. You can view previous issues of the paper, zoom in and out of articles, and sweep through pages. Press and hold on articles to view the list of additional features. Main Street Nashville's e-edition is a simple, new way to interact with and consume news. Access the full e-edition of Main Street Nashville on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Read whatever you want, whenever you want. If you have any questions, we're here to help. Call us at 615-527-4104 or email us at news@mainstreetnash.com. I hope you enjoyed that. Just to kind of let you know what it is, because I can say e-reader all day long. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's going to go right over, So we're trying to be wherever you are to tell your stories. As more and more media outlets like radio, television, newspapers are going away from local, they just said people just want to hear what's going on in the country. No, we want to see our kids' pictures playing ball every week. We want to see free obituaries when we lose our friends and our family. We want to be able to see businesses that are right here at home that are part of our community. And that's what we tell the stories of every day. Well, speaking of telling the stories, a shout out to all of those folks who are weighing in today. Suzanne and Mark, so glad that you were part of today. Hello, Janet. Oh my goodness. So glad that you are here. Hello, Miranda. Good to see you today. I know they don't, well, some schools do teach that, Miranda. Some schools absolutely do. But the Tennessee Honey Festival is trying to bring it very interactive and way to get all the information to kids so that they learn very early. Hello to Barbara, who is watching, to Greg McDougall, who is doing better every day off the oxygen. Bless you. Prayers for you. And Steve Burney, who is probably one of our most faithful listeners. And we got to get you your John A's book too. A winner here and Elizabeth, every single day, Elizabeth sharing it. If you're watching this, make sure that you click subscribe on the Main Street Today page on Facebook and YouTube, and follow Main Street Nashville on YouTube. That's where you can keep up with all the stories and everything that we do, and it's all archived. God bless you. You have a great day. Remember, be safe, be kind, but most of all, remember you are loved.